deny things is what that's not the scientific method. It's just like prove it wrong first. Anyway, so there it is, and so the Council Fathers knew this. 400 years after the birth of Christ, they held the meeting there because they knew by tradition that's where Mary lived, and so they prayed the Holy Spirit, prayed to Our Lady for enlightenment and of this reality. I say this, and it probably is too much of an exaggeration, but I was at a dinner with a priest before I became a Franciscan and a priest. I hobnobbed, I had priest friends, and they invite me over for dinner, trying to make me go to the seminary and stuff like that. And one of the priests at the table said, "Oh, Mary's not the mother of God." And I just kind of looked at him and said, "What do you mean, Father?" It's just like, well, she's the mother of Jesus, but she's not the mother of God. And I was just like,
But Jesus
I was
is
much more polite in my younger days. Today I would just snap back. Do you pray the rosary? Like, what did we just say 54 times today? Holy Mary, Mother of God. We're just all zombies just saying randomly something, but that's totally senseless. And basically, this notion that we would look at, if we had a panel discussion here and invited the persons of the Trinity down, and we had the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit kind of sitting down. I'm not sliding towards morbidness, I'm just saying hypothetically. And then we have, if you ask them, who are you? The Father would say, I'm God the Father. The Son would say, I'm the Son, the eternal wisdom. And the Holy Spirit would say, I'm the Holy Spirit. If you ask them, what are you, to the extent that they can answer what, they would all reply in unison, I am God. And so, person answers the question of who are they, and this notion of, and Jesus would respond, God and man, to the question of what are you in terms of nature. And Nestorius flipped it around the other way. Instead of finding the unity of the person in the Godhead, that Jesus is a divine person, he flipped it the other way and said Jesus is both a human person and a divine person, rather than saying a divine person with a human nature and a divine nature. Why is that important for us? It's important because the analogy that's given in theology is that there's one God in three persons. But they're not three gods. We don't get caught up with Jehovah's Witnesses and trying to say you can't prove it or something like that. It's basically, the analogy of the Trinity would be, just think of a candle and a flame. And if I lit up a match right now and lighted a candle, I can point out something. That in this candle, this flame flickering, I get heat, warmth, and I get light. And there's fire. But the fire is not the warmth. And the warmth is not the light. Those are three ways we can distinguish the same thing, but it's all the flame. You see? And I can look at one thing and distinguish it three ways. I can look at the Trinity and say there's one God, and there are three distinguishing persons in that God. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, Nestorius is trying to say backwards that Jesus has two persons rather than two natures. And so it's an important concept because we use that analogy of a hypostatic union, where it's one person that Christ is united with two natures. These two natures are united in one person, with the same analogy of our human soul. We're soul-body composites. We often make the mistake, and we fall into some Manichaeanism by saying, properly speaking, I shouldn't say, I have a body. We should say, I am a body. But oftentimes we say that, like I have a body, like my body is something else. My body is really the extension of my soul, in Catholic theology and philosophy.